by the Hilton here in Uptown Charlotte. We've got the Virginia Tech Hokies in with us. Head Coach Mike Young for a few minutes, and then the student athletes afterwards. If you would please identify your agency, your name, folks that you're with. We'll get a microphone to you. Coach, your first question will come to the right side, third row.
Hey Coach, TJ Wilkerson of the Sports Nerd Podcast. With the few transfers that you picked up, one of them was Jaden Shutt out of Duke, who was coming off a knee injury.
Yeah.
How is his process? How is his progress been?
Really, really good. He did not participate in the full contact stuff this summer, and you can see him still rounding into shape, but he's completely healthy. He's practiced very, very well. We scrimmaged yesterday. He had a good day. Jaden shoots a good basketball player. We're thrilled he's in Blacksburg. He's doing a nice job for the Hokies.
Other questions for Coach from the room? Coach, seeing none, I'll ask from the podium. Your 23rd year as a collegiate head coach, what has this sport taught you as a head coach over those 23 years?
Tripp, you better roll with the punches. There's a lot of wonderful times that I reflect back on. But there's some peaks and valleys in any profession, certainly in the coaching world. But a lot of great lessons that we take with us through our lives in the coaching world. 23 years, that's a long time. I have been blessed and happy to have had the opportunity to do it as long as I've done it.
We'll go back to, actually, Coach, we'll go front row to your right.
Coach, Dan Tortora, CallDT.com. How are you?
Great.
To bring a transfer with you as well as a returning player, just what you can say about meshing the transfer portal and the returnees together, and just what that team looks like through the summer here.
Well, I think we're all trying to get our arms around it. We're a couple, 3 years into this era of college sports. It makes you a better teacher. You've got guys coming from different programs, all good programs, well coached, but they do things differently. The terminology may be different. You're trying to make that a cohesive unit, and that's going to take a little time. All of us, in my conversations with other coaches across the country, it's going to look differently in January and February than it does in November, December. I think this team, this current Virginia Tech team, is on a good course, but there's something every day that I'll communicate, and I can tell by that reaction he doesn't know what I'm talking about. Compared to a 3-year, 4-year person that has heard it, has experienced it, has done it on the floor. So that's some challenges to it, but last time I checked, they call it coaching for a reason. That is to be a better teacher and give that person a better understanding of what you're trying to accomplish.
Coach, as a follow-up to that from the podium, how will you know when it clicks? Is there a moment?
I'll get back to you. I'm not sure how to respond when you're playing good basketball and winning games, which is certainly a challenge in this league year in, year out. This year will be no different. I think maybe an even better answer is when they're playing, when they're thinking their feet slow down, when they are free, the game is it's a cleaner game. The ball is handled more crisply. They are more in unison defensively. That's when I'll know that we're on to something. We're a far cry away from that right now. Only 11 practices in. We did scrimmage last night, but this team will get there.
We'll go back to the right side, third row with TJ.
Coach, yesterday Jim spoke about scheduling and how to make the ACC seem more appetizing going into the NCAA tournament. You guys have an interesting schedule.
Yeah.
And would you like to dive into that and how you feel like that could get VT back into the promised land, other than just winning conference games, and also talk about Jim Phillips' comments?
I agree with Jim. I never want to miss the NCAA tournament because what is perceived as a non-league schedule is not strong enough. And I don't think anybody could say that our non-league schedule hasn't been strong enough in our 6 years at Virginia Tech. This schedule in 24-25 is no exception. Michigan in Fort Myers, or where we hope to be Fort Myers over the Thanksgiving holiday, along with South Carolina and Xavier. Penn State in Baltimore. We have Vanderbilt at home in the SEC ACC Challenge. So I think, and then you consider, we have Clemson, Virginia, and Miami home and away in our league, and 7 on the road, 7 at home. I think our strength of schedule will be plenty good enough when that time comes, and hope that we are fortunate yet again to play, in your words, greatest tournament on earth, the Promised Land.
Coach, your last question will come left side,
Thank
fourth
goodness.
row. Sir?
Thank goodness.
Left side, fourth row, right at the aisle.
Mike Young, David Cunningham.
David?
Tech Sideline.
know
You mentioned when we spoke with you a couple weeks ago that you felt like your defense was going to be farther ahead right now than your offense. What has impressed you through practice and your scrimmage about the way you guys have played on that end?
I've had a complete reversal after last night's experience, David. We got a long way to go on both ends of the floor. We're going to get there. Both ends are hard. When you incorporate a ball into the offensive end, that requires timing, that requires spacing, execution. The same can be said without the ball on the defensive end. We have the makings of a very good defensive team. This is not a great defensive team yet, but we've got the right pieces. They're smart people. I'm thankful we have several more practices before we throw it in the air for real on November 4th.
Coach, thank you. You can switch
Thanks,
spots
buddy.
with Elijah. Elijah will have you step up for a few minutes. Folks, same routine. Please identify yourselves and the agency that you're with. Elijah will go right side, third row.
Hey, Elijah. TJ Wilkerson from the Sports Nerd Podcast. How are you doing today, man?
Doing good, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. So with the scrimmage last night that Coach was talking about, you being the big veteran on this team, what did you see that pleased you, and what did you see that made you go, we gotta work on this some more, guys?
Like Coach attested to, a lot of the timing stuff like that is off a little bit. That's to be expected. A lot of new guys coming from different spots trying to get that together. But as he spoke to too, I think you see the makings of what we could be potentially with. And we rebounded the ball well, good athleticism across the board. You see that we could be a good defensive team. So I think you see what we could work toward.
Elijah, to your right, first row.
Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com, Elijah, which just what you can say about your evolution as a player, what you've seen in yourself and your time at Virginia Tech, and what's come through the summer that we can expect to see on the floor.
I think a lot of the emphasis for me personally this summer was conditioning, getting in shape to play more minutes, leaned out a little bit, got in better shape. So I think that along with the expansion game a little bit, try to score the ball in some different ways than I was able to last year and the year before that overall. So I think all of that will come together to hopefully make me a little more effective on the court.
Elijah, from the podium, a follow-up to that, you did lose between 20 and 25 pounds during the offseason. Was that hard to do?
It really wasn't. Just eat a little better, work out a little more.
Is it hard to keep it off?
No, it hasn't been for me. It wasn't too tough of a process. I've always raved about David Jackson, our strength and conditioning guy. He's probably the best in the business. So it's been a pretty easy adjustment for me.
Teach me your ways.
The room would like for you to give some tips on how to do that. Just, you don't have to, unless you want to. Other questions from Elijah from the room? We have it, do we have it here? Yes, so to the right side, right at the aisle about the fourth row.
Mark Berman, Roanoke Times. What do you know about Elijah? What have you learned about this team that maybe you didn't now you know about them that maybe you didn't know in August or in May?
I'm definitely higher on the team now, like our potential than I could have been earlier. I think despite what I thought, I think we're a little further along than I thought we would be at this point. Like, you know, we talked about before, we have the makings of good offensive team, a good defensive team. So I would say this speaks to that. We've come a really far way in the offseason. Everybody's gelling together well.
Elijah, your last question, just to his left or right.
David Cunningham, Tech sideline. Elijah, you said David Jackson is the best in the business in your mind. Why do you say that? What makes him so good as a strength and conditioning coach?
You know, obviously you know this stuff, but it's it's a good balance of, obviously he's going to be hard on you, but never going to be overbearing or anything like that. If you're doing something well, he's going to let you know and praise you. If you're not doing something well, it's going to be the obvious. Never too high or low out of him. It's going to be, steady makings.
Elijah, thank you. You and Ben can switch spots, and we'll spend some time with Mr. Berman.
Thank you.
Folks, if you would, again, your questions to Ben. Name and agency, please. Ben, right side, third row.
Hey Ben, TJ Wilkerson from the Sports Nerd Podcast. How are you doing today, man?
I'm good.
Good. So my question for you, sir. Coming upon your final year, we know Mike Young has a great atmosphere and environment going at VT. So was that the reason why you chose VT for probably your final year of collegiate basketball, or was there something else to it?
I think, yeah, you nailed it. Coach Young, his personality, he's a real likable guy, despite what some people say. And the assistants who recruited me just built a good relationship, and the sports fans in Blacksburg are crazy, so that's eventually what led to me being here.
Ben, to your right, first row.
Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Ben, last season being with the College of Charleston and Pat Kelsey, just what you can say about your experience with him and the uniqueness of the fact that he is now going to be a coach that you go up against.
Yeah, it is kind of strange because I have nothing but respect for him. He's a great coach. The amount of basketball stuff he taught me is crazy. I couldn't even explain what he's taught me, and that's really what allowed me to be able to come to this level. So the respect to him, he's a great coach, and I'm looking forward to play against him.
Ben, from the podium, a bit of a follow-up to learning when your team clicks. You said on September 30th that the team plays with a chip on the shoulder. Well, if you haven't played yet, how do you know that?
Just how we get after it in practice. We're going at each other like you wouldn't believe. We're all playing as hard as we can, diving on loose balls, getting deflections in practice. We like to count the deflections, so we're all flying around on defense trying to get as many deflections as we can, and I think that's winning basketball, and that chip on our shoulder is what could win us some games.
Other questions for Ben from the room? Ben, curious to know, do you have to win a championship to call the season successful?
I don't think you have to win a championship to call the season successful. I think that would be great, and that is obviously a goal, but I think if we just come together as a team and win as a team, I think we could have a real successful season.
Virginia Tech, thank you. Good luck this season.
Thank you.